Imagine it's 1977. You're in the market for a 2+2-seater sports car / Grand Tourer in the premium segment. You have your eyes on the Mercedes 450 SLC and the Jaguar XJS, both excellent cars in their own respect. Then, seemingly out of nowhere, the 928 arrives. Porsche drops this bombshell at the Geneva Motor Show, and suddenly everything changes. It looks like something from outer space, and you realize that the future has arrived and that this is the car you really want to get. Now, if you always lusted after a lightly used, highly original first series 928 with manual gearbox, then this is the car for you. Time warp might be an overused expression, but it accurately describes this fantastic example. It has the appearance of a 4-year-old car with lovely patina inside and out. It has only 45,000 miles or 72,000 kilometers on the clock, and it still wears its factory paint to 100%. Sounds too good to be true? Well, I didn't believe it either until I had the opportunity to properly inspect the vehicle. In short, this 928 would take pride of place in any stellar Porsche collection, and we're happy to represent it here at Petrolhead Classics. However, Porsche built the 928 as a driving machine, so join me for a ride to find out what driving a 928 in its purest form is actually like. The seats are super comfortable. Even at 6'4", it's easy for me to find a good driving position. The instruments are always in focus as the binnacle adjusts together with the steering wheel. Very clever. The wide and sloping center console makes you feel like you're almost piloting an aircraft, and I think it is echoed very well in the Porsche lineup today. The 4.5 litre V8 has plenty of torque, and the 5-speed dogleg manual gearbox is a joy to use, even though it's placed by the rear axle to get a perfect 50-50 weight distribution. All in all, first impressions are of a highly capable Grand Tourer for long-distance touring with plenty of power reserves. However, before we do some more spirited driving, let's stop for a moment and have a look at what made the 928 so unique when it was introduced. So much has been said about the Porsche 928, but what really makes it stand out is its design. Porsche wanted to reduce drag and lift to optimize speed and handling. So they came up with this very slippery, aerodynamic shape, almost organic. And while other manufacturers put heavy impact bumpers front and rear to comply with safety legislation, Porsche said, "9, that will interfere with the airflow. So what we're going to do is we're simply going to integrate them. And we're not just going to integrate the bumpers, but we're also going to paint them body color." Now, no one else had done it at the time. Today, all cars are designed like this, but this is just one example of how forward-thinking and brave Porsche was back then. To save weight, the bonnet, the front wings and the doors are made of aluminium. And we already talked about the perfect 50-50 weight distribution due to the engine being set far back into the chassis and the gearbox being at the rear with the transaxle connecting them. And there is another technical highlight on the car, the so-called Weissach axle, which is basically the rear axis of the car, and this was the first time that a manufacturer had tried active steering to basically aid cornering and make the car more dynamic. So all in all, it's a very, very innovative car, and the design has stood the test of time. I think it looks contemporary. The only thing that gives the age away are perhaps the pop-up headlights, but the rest of the car looks great even in 2024. I personally love the telephone dial wheels, and this is really 928 in its purest form. No spoiler lip that only arrived with the S a couple of years later. no side adornments, just the pure uninterrupted shape. Pretty stunning. Now, some testers wanted to have a bit more power. When the car was new, the 4.5 litre V8 cranked out 240 horsepower. Porsche had initially thought of making a 5 or 6 litre version of the V8, but along came the fuel crisis and Porsche decided to downsize. In any case, the torque is absolutely adequate, and I remember reading the first Swedish road test in Teknikens Värld as a little kid, where the tester said that you can basically use any gear you want. 3 gears would be enough because the engine has so much torque. The car is actually great to drive. It's perhaps not something you tuck around a racetrack, but then again, I don't think that that was the intention. Although, you got to keep in mind that Porsche was actually thinking about replacing the 911 with the 928. They actually called the first project 911H back in 1971, but as we all know, it's not what happened. The 911 still lives on today. It's also funny to think that Porsche sold 60,000 928 over 17 years, and today they sell around 40,000 Taycan yearly. So was it a success or not? It's hard to say, but I think it was a huge step forward for Porsche, coming from the air-cooled rear-engine 911 and being brave enough to move the game on and to develop something truly stunning. Anyway, I've enjoyed this ride in this highly original 928. It's really, for me, it's like a childhood dream come true. If you would like to know more about this amazing car, I'll put a link to our website in the description below. In the meantime, drive tastefully. See you in the next video.